So hi everyone. Today's class we are going to see about Ielts 16 test 4 passage 2. So last class we had about Roman tunnels. So today we are going to see about changes in reading habits, which is Cam 16 test 4 reading passage 2. So changes in reading habits, what are the implications of the way we read today? Look around on your next playing trip. The iPad is the new pacifier for babies and toddlers. Younger school-aged children read stories on smartphones. Older kids don't read at all, but hunch over video games. Parents and other passengers read on tablets or skim a flotilla of email and news feeds. Unbeknown to most of us, an invisible game-changing transformation links everyone in this picture. The neuronal circuit that underlies the brain's ability to read is subtly, rapidly changing, and this has implications for everyone from the pre-reading toddler to an expert adult. As work in neurosciences indicate, the acquisition of literacy necessitated a new circuit in our species brain more than 6,000 years ago. That circuit evolved from a very simple mechanism for decoding basic information like the number of goats in one's herd to the present highly elaborated reading brain. My research depicts how the present reading brain enables the development of some of our most important intellectual and affective processes, internalized knowledge, analogical reasoning, and inference, perspective taking, and empathy, critical analysis, and the regeneration of insight. Research surfacing in many parts of the world now cautions that each of these essential deep reading processes may be under threat as we move into digital-based modes of reading. This is not a simple binary issue of print versus digital reading and technological innovation. As MIT scholar Sherry Turkle has written, we do not err as a society when we innovate, but when we ignore what we disrupt or diminish while innovating. In this hinge moment, between print and digital cultures, society needs to confront what is diminishing in the expert reading circuit, what our children and older students are not developing, and what we can do about it. We know from research that the reading circuit is not given to human beings through a genetic blueprint like a vision or language. It needs an environment to develop. Further, it will adapt to that environment's requirements, from different writing system to the characteristics of whatever medium is used. If the dominant medium advantages processes that are fast, multitask oriented, and well suited for large volumes of information like the current digital medium, so will the reading circuit. As UCLA psychologist Patricia Greenfield writes, the result is that less attention and time will be allocated to slower, time-demanding, deep reading processes. Increasing reports from educators and from researchers in psychology and the humanities bear this out. English literature scholar and teacher Mark Edmondson describes how many college students actively avoid the classic literature of the 19th and 20th centuries in favor of something simpler, as they no longer have the patience to read longer, denser, and more difficult text. We should be less concerned with the students' cognitive impatience, however, than by what may underlie it. The potential inability of large number of students to read with a level of critical analysis sufficient to comprehend the complexity of thought and argument found in more demanding text. Multiple studies shows that digital screen use may be causing a variety of troubling downstream effects on reading comprehension in older high school and college students. In Stavanger, Norway, psychologist Annie Mangan and her colleagues studied how high school students comprehend the same material in different mediums. Mangan's group asked subject questions about a short story whose plot had universal student appeal. Half of the students read the story on a tablet and the other half in paperback. Results indicated that students who read on print were superior in their comprehension to screen reading peers, particularly in their ability to sequence detail and reconstruct the plot in chronological order. Ziming Liu from San Jose State University has conducted a series of studies which indicate that the new norm in reading is skimming, involving word spotting and browsing through the text. Many readers now use a pattern when reading in which they sample the first line and then word spot through the rest of the text. When reading brain skims like this, it reduces the time allocated to deep reading processes. In other words, we don't have time to grasp complexity, to understand another's feeling, to perceive beauty, and to create thoughts of the reader's own. The possibility that critical analysis, empathy, and other deep reading processes could become the unintended collateral damage of our digital culture is not a straightforward binary issue about print versus digital reading. It is about how we all have begun to read on various mediums and how that changes not only what we read but also the purposes for which we read. Nor is it only about the end. The subtle atrophy of critical analysis and empathy affects us all equally. It affects our ability to navigate a constant bombardment of information. It incentivizes a retreat to the most familiar stores of unchecked information, which require and receive no analysis, leaving us susceptible to false information and irrational ideas. There is an old rule in neuroscience that does not alter with age. Use it or lose it. It is a very hopeful principle when applied to critical thought in the reading brain because it implies choice. The story of the changing reading brain is hardly finished. We possess both the science and the technology to identify and redress the change in how we read before they become entrenched. If we work to understand exactly what we will lose, alongside the extraordinary new capacities that the digital world has brought us, there is as much reason for excitement as caution. So, questions 14 to 17 is going to be MCQs. Okay, so 14th question, what is the writer's main point in the first paragraph? So, first paragraph is my keyword here. So again, I go to the first paragraph, I try to understand something. So look around in your next plane trip. iPad is the new pacifier for babies and toddlers. Younger school-aged children read stories on smartphones. The older kids don't read at all, but hunch over video games. So parents and other passengers read a tablet or a skim of local of email and news feeds. Unbeknown to most of us, an invisible game-changing transformation links everyone in this picture. Something that links everyone in this picture. Reading. So I go with A. Our use of technology is having a hidden effect on us. So as we read the line, unbeknown, invisible game-changing transformation links everyone in this picture. It's a hidden effect on us. What main point does Sherry Turkle make about innovation? So I go with the keyword Sherry Turkle. So what does he say? We do not err as a society when we innovate, but when we ignore, we disrupt or diminish while innovating. So again, I go to the answers. Yes, I go with option B. We should pay attention to what might be lost when innovation occurs. So I go with option B because we ignore when we disrupt or diminish while innovating. So we might be lost when innovation occurs. So we should pay attention to it. What point is the writer making in the fourth paragraph? So reading circuit is not given to human beings through genetic blueprint. So it depends, it adapts to the environment's requirement, different writing systems to the characteristics of whatever the medium is used. So what will be the correct option? Any guesses? Human does not have an inborn ability to read and write. It's not genetically that. Writing systems make unexpected demand on the brain, no. Reading can be done using many different mediums, or some brain circuit adjust to whatever is required or required for them. So I go with option D. It depends upon the brain circuit that adjusts itself. According to Mark Edmondson, the attitude of college students. So what does he say about the attitude of college students? So Mark Edmondson describes how college students actively avoid the classic literature of 19th and 20th centuries in favor of something simpler, as they no longer have the patience to read. So we should be less concerned with the students' cognitive impatience, however, than by what may underlie it, the potential ability of the students to read. So what will be the correct option? It has influenced what they select to read. I go with option B because they've been bored of reading the classic literatures, which was interesting at that time, but now it became bored for the college students. So they become selective in their reading. So studies on digital screen use. There have been studies on digital screen use showing some dash trends. So again, I go with the keyword digital screen use. Multiple studies shows that digital screen may be causing a variety of troubling downstream effects on reading comprehension. Troubling downstream effects. So I have to match the synonym with the box here. So troubling downstreaming effects. So what will be the correct word? Yes, worrying. Troubling is worrying. Psychologist Annie Mansion have high school students short story to read, half using digital and half using print mediums. Her team then used a question and answer technique to find out how dash each group's understanding of the plot was. How so actually she checked, isn't it? So see this Annie Mansion, and they checked how thorough they were, right? So this one we read already. Mansion's group asked subject questions about a short story whose plot had universal student appeal. So half were read in tablet and half in paperback. So on who read on print were superior. This is the task they conducted. So how thorough H. Each group's understanding of the plot. The findings showed a clear pattern in these responses, with those who read screens finding the order of information. So what did actually the people who learned in print were superior than the people who read in screens. So here they have asked the people who read screens find the order of information hard to recall. You understand? Studies by Zeeming Liu show that students are tending to read dash words and phrases in a text so to save time. So Zeeming Liu is my keyword. Again, I go to the passage. So see this, they adopt a skimming involving word spotting, browsing through the text. They sample the first line, then word spot through the rest of the text. So when brain skims like this, it reduces the time allocated to the deep reading processes. So tending to read isolated B words and phrases in a text to save time. This approach, she says, gives the reader a superficial understanding of the dash content of material, leaving no time for thought. So again, I go to the passage. So see this. We don't have time to grasp complexity, to understand another's feeling, to perceive beauty, or create thoughts of the reader's own. So, superficial understanding of the emotional content of the material, leaving no time for thought. Okay. Next is going to be yes or no not given. The medium we use to read can affect our choice of reading content. Yeah. What is the answer? So see this 8th paragraph. It is all about we begin to read on various mediums and how that changes not only what we read, but also the purpose for which we read. So what does this mean? The medium used to read can affect our choice of reading content is yes. Some age groups are more likely to lose their complex reading skills than others. So I go with no, because there is an old rule in neuroscience that does not alter with age. Use it or lose it. So does not alter with the age implies that age is not a matter for reading skills. So it's no, contradicts the view. False information has become widespread in today's digital era. Actually, practically it's true, but when I find this in the passage, I don't get any information regarding this. So it's not given. It's not given. We still have opportunities to rectify the problem that technology is presenting. So yes, we possess both science and technology to identify and redress the changes in how we read before they become entrenched. So this means that we have opportunity to rectify the problem that technology is presenting, which is true. I hope you are able to understand. So thanks for your patience. So with this, we'll end up the session here. I hope you understand the passage.